So what does it take to create a welfare state in a country like Pakistan, which has a population of 220 million people, where poverty is very pervasive? In a country which has severe fiscal space constraints. Where the public sector capacity to deliver well at scale has always been questioned. And where governments have traditionally used social protection as a tool of political patronage. These were some very big questions in front of me when I joined as the Special Assistant to the Prime Minister on Social Protection. So Ehsaas was set in a long-term vision. We called it Ehsaas 2047. This is the 100th anniversary of the country. And it would be a very befitting vision to have social protection for all who need it. The Prime Minister had a vision to create a welfare state, and I was meant to execute that vision. It was a very challenging task.
मुश्किल तो गरीब को खाने की चीज़ों में हो रही, आटा महंगा हो गया है, घी आसमान तक पहुंच गई, दालों की अब देख लें क्या कीमत है।
आजकल महंगाई इतनी ज़्यादा है कि अगर किसी से उधार भी मांगे ना तो वो मुंह इतने टेढ़ा करता है ना और इतनी बातें सुनाता है, और एहसान जो है ना अलग।
गर्मियों में वो फर्श में भी हम सोता था, फिर 2 दिन में इस साइड में दर्द करता था, पहला तीसरा दिन में कमर में दर्द करता था।
मेरे शौहर फौत हुआ, मेरे यतीम बच्चे हैं, मैं
जे 10,000 रुपये कमाते हैं तो 10-20,000 रुपये खर्चा होता थी। 5,000 रुपये कर्जा वो तो उसको ब्याज देते थे, 5,000 के उसी में बेराबर पहुँचते होते थे, बना 2,000-5,000 महीने से महीने टूटते थे, खर्चा ही पूरा नहीं होता थी।
और हमारे मामा का बेटा है, उसने BA किया है, MA किया है, वो भी समंदर का काम करता है, वो सामने वाला कश्ती है उसका।
जो भी हम कमाते थे आधा वही रख लेता था ना दुकानदार, और आधा ही हमें मिलता था, जो बहुत परेशानी के बायस बनते थे। जो ज़ाहिर है आजकल के महंगाई में पूरा नहीं कर रहा था हम लोगों को।
Before Ehsaas, the government social protection operations were very fragmented at the federal level. They were being operated and operationalized through different institutions that fell under the rubric of different ministries. There was no central coordination. There was a lot of duplication and fragmentation. There were a number of categories of deserving individuals who were outside of the ambit of social protection, which means that there weren't programs tailored to them. Governance of the social protection programs was abysmal. The survey which was used for targeting was 10 years old. The payment system which was used was sole source contracted 10 years previously. So we began with articulating a vision, then we cascaded that vision into a 4-year strategy with clear, time-bound, outcome-based goals. The programs were aligned for different target audiences to meet those goals. We had this huge task of setting up the institutional mechanism. A new ministry was created. We got a governance and integrity policy approved. We created a governance observatory to ascertain how the implementing agencies were delivering on the parameters set within that policy. A tracking mechanism was established. A delivery unit was established because Ehsaas was multi-component. It had a number of different initiatives with multiple implementing agencies, and we needed to get a hang of how things were being implemented on ground. And then we focused attention on building the foundations of Ehsaas. So there was a huge agenda under the Data and Digitization Initiative. There was a Building and Rebuilding Institutions Initiative under which there were multi-pronged reform initiatives aimed at strengthening governance. And because Ehsaas had 16 programs and we wanted to deliver them through one window, there was the One Window Service Delivery Initiative as well. We had to do a lot of spade work to build the digital foundations to execute Ehsaas. Then, of course, there were some key policies which we needed to articulate. The Women and Girls policy, for example, which stipulates that more than 50% of all benefits have to go to women and girls. A very large budget was carved out for Ehsaas. And I'm very pleased to say today that there was 100% utilization of that budget. So all these things, the rollout of the 16 programs, the very aggressive reform, the building of the Data and Digitization Initiative, went hand in hand with the extensive operations that we had to do when COVID struck. So digitization was hardwired into the execution of Ehsaas emergency cash, and we executed for the first time during COVID, when we reached out to 15 million families and disbursed 179 billion cash as a response to the COVID hardships. It was totally hardwired into the design. So individuals were able to send us their national identity card numbers. They were able to SMS us their national identity card numbers on an SMS short code. Once we received those, we would run those through data analytics and survey data. And then the ones that were declared eligible based on a set of policies and procedures that were pre-approved, we would send them an SMS back alerting them about their eligibility status, and then they would go to our camps and banks and payment sites and collect money after biometric verification. And for the first time in the history of the country, emergency aid was given in an impartial manner. It was not given to the cronies of the powerful. It was not given based on political allegiances. And it was not given in a disrespectful manner, because previously the convention was that emergency aid was given to parliamentarians. They would go to their constituencies and they would preferentially target it largely to their cronies. And this was meant to be a hand down. People had to line up and beg to get assistance. But here people were totally empowered. And to this day, many parliamentarians are deeply resentful because we took away this tool of patronage from their hands and we empowered people. That is not what they want largely. One of the evidences of the impartiality of Ehsaas emergency cash was that 31% of the assistance went to the province of Sindh, where the government was from an opposition political party. Initially, when we had released a video announcing what the execution modalities would be, we had announced that the National Finance Commission award formula will be followed to distribute this cash amongst the various federating entities. That is a formula through which the government distributes its revenues in Pakistan's federal polity. And we had announced in a publicly released video that the monies would be distributed according to that formula. But we overturned that formula in favor of an opposite political party because a lot of people were stranded in a large city which was situated in that province. So this is a proxy indicator of how impartial and how politically neutral the operations of Ehsaas emergency cash were. And through the One Window initiative, we focused on delivery with respect. The beneficiaries needed the best level of care, the best level of service at the point of delivery, and that's where the One Window service delivery architecture comes in. Now, this ecosystem had 4 large pillars. So the first part of the ecosystem was the center itself, the Ehsaas One Window Center. The second part were the front-end digital interfaces, which included the apps and the web interfaces, which provided information to beneficiaries in a consolidated manner. The third part was the data part, because there was the one window concept around data sharing as well. And then there was the policy, the one window policy, which facilitated targeting in ways that made the program coherent. Within the center itself, we consolidated all the programs. So all the 4 implementing agencies had their offices there: BISP, Baitul Mal, Pakistan Poverty Alleviation Fund. The different programs had their outreach there. We had registration desks as well. So the Ehsaas registry is meant to be a live registry. So once we completed our static survey of 34 million households, we set up these special registration desks where people could come and update their status. If a household had been missed, they could register themselves. We asked bank branches to open their office there. We had ATMs there installed to facilitate individuals to draw cash. There were point-of-sale machines of partner banks. Ehsaas Nasho-Numa had its operations there. Ehsaas Undergraduate Scholarship had an office there. There was facility for families to enroll students in Ehsaas school stipends there.
ठीक है, उस स्कूल से ये फॉर्म फिल करवा के दस्तखत पे नाम भी, मोबाइल नंबर भी लिखवाना है और इसकी एक फोटोकॉपी भी लेके आनी है.
There was a free internet cafe where students wanting to enroll in Ehsaas school stipends could come and enroll themselves. The interest-free loan program had an office there. Ehsaas Tahaffuz had an outpost there. There were some offices dedicated to the disability services. One of Ehsaas's soup kitchen had an outpost there. Nadra had its office over there because in Ehsaas we had a lot of dependency on Nadra in terms of revalidating the fingerprints. The utility stores corporation through which people can redeem their subsidy under Ehsaas Ration Rahat. And what the Ehsaas One Window Center did was to really facilitate the beneficiaries. So previously, if a beneficiary failed on biometrics and on one of the point of sales machine in the bazaar, in the market, they would have to go and revalidate their fingers to the Nadra office. It would take several days. Then they would go to the ATM and test again. And if they would fail again, they would have to send us a complaint, and then the complaint would be registered, and then we would respond to them, and they would have to go to the bank branch again. But now everything is under one roof. This whole process can happen within half an hour.
शुक्र अल्लाह का कि यहाँ पे हम आते हैं पैसे लेने, तो ये बात है कि यहाँ पे कोई मसला नहीं होता है. ATM भी है, नादरा वाला दफ्तर भी है, सब कुछ है, हमें सहूलत मिल जाती है, टाइम नहीं ख़राब होता यहाँ पे हमारा.
And about 2 months after we opened that, every person on the street knew where the Ehsaas Center was, because this became a rallying point for them to go to seek services.
हम शुक्रगुजार हैं कि जिन्होंने ये हमारे लिए मदद की है, तो ये कि घर का निज़ाम चल जाता है. शुक्रिया.